Let me ask you a simple question. When you size the water tank for a housing project, how do you decide how many people live in it? For years, most of us used old rules of thumb. So many persons per flat. A rough number we all just accepted. In 2026, that number changed. The plumbing code now tells you, in plain figures, how many people to assume in a one bedroom, a two bedroom, a three bedroom flat. And if your population number is wrong, then your water demand is wrong, your tank size is wrong, and your pumps are wrong. Everything downstream is off. So today, let's get it right. If we haven't met, I am Puneet Sharma. I run MSCO and Design, an MEPF consultancy in Delhi. Water supply, drainage, sanitation, pumps, treatment. This is our daily work across housing, offices, hospitals, and townships. The National Building Code just had a big update. Most people are talking about the fire changes. But the plumbing part changed a lot too, and it changed in ways that hit your very first calculations: population, demand, and storage. So, this is the working consultant's version: what changed, what it means at your desk, and where it can quietly trip you up. Here is what we will cover: 1. Where plumbing now lives in the code and its new international base. 2. The new population numbers for homes. 3. Water demand for warehouses and factories, which the old code barely covered. 4. Per person demand and the new water breakup. 5. A new storage rule for pressurized systems. 6. Drainage changes that stop blockages. 7. Greywater, on-site treatment, and biodigesters. And 8. The one caveat that decides whether any of this even applies to your project. Stay till the end for that last point. It is the one that protects you. First, the basics. In the old code, plumbing was Part 9. In NBCS 2026, it moves to Part E, Plumbing Services. And it is broader now. Part E has 4 sections: water supply, drainage and sanitation, solid waste management, and gas supply. So plumbing and public health now sit together in one place. There is one more change here that matters. The old code was based mainly on our Indian standards. The new one keeps those Indian standards, but it also brings in international references: the International Plumbing Code and the Uniform Plumbing Code 2024 editions. So the thinking is now more aligned with global practice. Keep that in mind. The code is trying to be more modern and more complete. Now the big one for anyone doing housing. The code now gives you clear population numbers per flat. Here they are. A one-bedroom flat, assume 3 people. A two-bedroom, 4 people. A three-bedroom, 5 people. A four-bedroom or bigger, 6 people. For EWS housing, assume 4. And for a studio, assume 2. Why does this matter so much? Because population is the very first number in your whole water design. Everything grows from it. Take a project, 43 bedroom flats, 5 people each, that is 200 people. At the standard demand, that is roughly 27,000 liters a day. From that one population number, you get your daily demand, your tank sizes, your pump duty, all of it. So if you are still using an old rule of thumb for population, your entire water design may be built on the wrong starting number. This is the first thing to fix. Here is a gap the new code closed. In the old code, warehouses and industrial buildings did not really have a clear population basis for water demand. People estimated it loosely or skipped it. NBCS 2026 fixes that. It now gives population numbers for these buildings too. A warehouse, assume 1 person per 20 square meters. An industrial or hazardous unit, 1 person per 10 square meters. Pure storage, 1 person per 30 square meters. Offices, 1 person per 10 square meters. And shops, denser at street level than upper floors. So now, a warehouse or a factory has a proper code-backed way to work out its water demand and its toilets. If you design industrial or logistics projects, this is new ground you can finally stand on. And remember, a wet process area may also need an emergency flow drain, which is a new term in the code. Let's talk about how much water per person. For an urban community, the basis stays at 135 liters per person per day. That part is familiar. But the new code adds something useful: a suggested breakup of that water. It splits how the water is used, and importantly, it points to roughly 30 liters per person per day going to flushing. Why should you care about that flushing number? Because that is exactly the part you can replace with recycled water. If you know that about 30 liters per person is just for flushing, you can plan to serve that from treated grey water instead of fresh water. So this small breakup is actually the key that unlocks water saving. Hold that thought, we come back to it. Now a change that is easy to miss, but important. Many modern buildings use hydropneumatic or pressurized water systems instead of a simple overhead tank feeding by gravity. In the old code, storage sizing for these pressurized systems was not clearly spelled out. NBCS 2026 now makes it explicit. There is a stated storage requirement for hydro-pneumatic and pressurized systems. The practical message is simple. When you size your storage now, do not forget the storage that the pressurized system itself needs. Recompute it. If you were sizing tanks the old way and ignoring this, your storage may fall short. So add it in, clearly, as the code now expects. Let's move to drainage and sanitation. A few real changes here. First, the fixture tables, how many toilets, wash basins, and urinals per number of people have been updated by building type. So go to the new tables for your actual counts. Do not reuse old numbers from memory. Second, and this is a good one, the code adds rules on the distances between sanitary fixtures and the drainage stack, both horizontal and vertical. Why? To prevent blockages. We have all seen buildings where the drainage chokes again and again because fixtures were connected badly. The code now guides that geometry directly, so the system actually flows. And there are new precise terms like emergency flow drain, flood level rim, and yoke vent. These are not just words. They bring clarity and better technical precision to how we draw and specify drainage. Now the part I find most forward-looking. In the old code, recycling and on-site treatment were mentioned, but lightly. In NBCS 2026, they are front and center. Remember that flushing number, about 30 liters per person? The code now clearly supports reusing treated greywater for that flushing demand. But to do it properly, you need a dual network. One set of pipes for fresh water, a separate set for recycled water, and the non-potable lines must be clearly marked. That marking is not optional. It is how you keep recycled water from ever crossing into drinking water. And for sites with no city sewer, the code now gives real solutions. A packaged sewage treatment plant, a PSTP, to treat grey and black water on site, and biodigesters as a sustainable non-sewer way to treat waste. For townships, campuses, and remote sites, these are now proper code-recognized options, not workarounds. So sustainability in plumbing is no longer a nice-to-have bolted on at the end. It is built into the code, designed for it from day one. And now the one point I promised you. It matters more than any single number today. NBCS 2026 is voluntary. It is a national standard, not automatically the law in your city. What actually controls your project is your local or state building bylaws and your local authority, the AHJ. And plumbing has an extra twist here. Many cities already have their own water demand rules and their own rainwater harvesting mandates. Those local rules can be stricter than the national code, and where they are, they win. So the right approach is always the same. Learn the new standard well, which is what we did today. Then check with your AHJ and your local bylaw before you fix any final quantity. Know the standard, confirm the city, in that order. That is how you stay both modern and safe. So let's bring it together. Plumbing is now party with an international base. Homes have clear population numbers per flat. Warehouses and factories finally have a water demand basis. Per person demand comes with a breakup that points straight at flushing. Pressurized system storage is now explicit. Drainage got rules to stop blockages. And greywater, PSTP, and biodigesters are now core, not extra. If you take one thing from today, your water design starts with the population number. So start there and start correct. I've put all of this into a full guide, a clear point-by-point comparison of NBC 2016 and NBCS 2026 for plumbing and public health, with the population tables, worked examples, and the cautions to watch. If you want it, just comment the word water and I'll send it to you. And if you want the same for HVAC and electrical, follow along, those guides are coming. I'm Puneet. Design carefully, check your local rules, and I'll see you in the next one.